Ukraine is suspending its justice minister over what it calls the biggest scandal since the start of the Russian-Ukraine war. Ukrainian officials say they discovered a high-level corruption scheme in the energy sector, including its state-run nuclear agency. It's alleged to include senior officials and President Zelenskyy's former close business partner. Now, Ukrainian anti-corruption activists say Zelenskyy must prove he will hold them accountable. ABC's Patrick Reevell is in London with the latest. Patrick, what's the latest on this investigation and the response to it?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, President Zelenskyy is under pressure today over this huge corruption scandal involving senior Ukrainian officials. Prosecutors allege that they uncovered a $100 million kickback scheme involving contracts to build defenses for Ukraine's energy system. As you said, today, Ukraine's justice minister was suspended after he was implicated in the investigation. A former deputy prime minister is also a suspect, but intense scrutiny is most on a former business partner of Zelenskyy called Timur Mindich. Mindich is a long-time associate of Zelenskyy who was a co-owner of the president's former production company. He's now accused of trying to exploit his connection with Zelenskyy. Now, we should say there is currently no evidence that Zelenskyy knew of this scheme or benefited from it, but he is obviously now under pressure to show that he will not cover for his associates. There is huge and growing anger in Ukraine over this scandal because it directly affects the country's power system at a time when Russia is destroying it and people are living with blackouts. Just in the past half hour, Zelenskyy has come out and said he will now insist on the resignation of the justice minister as well as also the minister of energy, and also saying he will impose sanctions on some of those involved. Perhaps that will mean he sanctions his former friend Mindich, but clearly he's trying to show that he is taking steps and feeling some of this public anger, Diane.
Patrick, meanwhile, Russia's making advances on the southeastern front of Ukraine. What's the latest on the fighting, and how could this scandal impact the war?
Yeah, Diane, as you say, I mean, there's been a lot of attention on the city of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, the stronghold that Russia has been moving to seize. But recently, in the past few days, a very worrying situation for Ukraine has been developing on the southeastern front, closer to the city of Zaporizhia, where Russian troops appear to have managed to break through a point of the line there and advance into some villages. They seem to have advanced at least several kilometers, which by the standards of this war is very rapid. And there are a number of pro-Ukraine analysts and volunteers sounding the alarm, saying that Ukraine's defenses are not strong enough there. And, you know, Zaporizhia is a major city in Ukraine. It's one of the biggest, most important cities. And it is basically Russia has been trying to bring it into artillery range, which would be terrible, obviously, for the people living there. For now, it's still quite unclear the situation on that front line. But clearly, Russia is making some progress there, and Ukraine needs to try and stabilize that. And obviously, the context of the corruption scandal is, hurting Ukrainian morale. Many soldiers are furious to hear that while they are fighting and dying back in Kyiv, high-level officials, including the country's justice minister, are being accused of directly undermining the country's ability to protect itself and its infrastructure, Diane.
All right, Patrick Reevell, thank you.